Okay, so this is video part 2 of functions and linear equations, slope of a line, y-intercept form, etc. So this is video part 2, so hopefully you saw the first video. Again, the first video was called functions, linear equation of a line, part 1, and this is part 2. And I'm not going to start off with a warm-up. I'm going to jump right into it. And then we left off at the last video with just beginning to take a look at the y equals mx plus b slope of a line linear equation and how to deal with this in order to learn how to solve the equation and then graph. So this is where we are, taking a look at stuff that looks like this. So before you jump into this, you want to make sure that you took a look at the first video. So again, no warm-up. I'm going to jump right in and start explaining our notes, and we're going to go from here. All right, let's get it going. Okay, slope-intercept form. This is the formula that we're working on for this video, and lots of the GED questions can be solved using slope-intercept form or figure out just the slope of a line. So we're going to start with here, and the notes I created are in the Google Classroom, and they are here, in which I'm going to be explaining the notes as we go along. All right, so the notes, let's take a look at what the parts of the formula mean. All right, so we have y equals mx plus b. Now, this might be a little bit new to you, and if not, I'll tell you this, I already kind of explained it to you in class. Remember when we were doing this, watch this now, watch this, stay with me, let me find it, ha, here we go. And I kept saying in our last video that fx is another way of saying y. Look at this now. Let me make it nice and clear for you. Y equals mx plus b. In this case, my m is 3/5. My b is a positive 5. What? I know. We were already taking a look at slope-intercept form when we were solving and completing these function tables. That's right. We have y. Look at this one. Look at this one. Remember, fx is another way of saying y equals m. My mx is on this side on this one. Equals mx plus b. There it is, okay? And so it is the same thing that we are looking at. Identifying the first one is much easier over here. Look at that. Now look at number 2. Now number 2, y equals mx. In this case, there just happens to be no b, which is also something that can very much happen, all right? But it's just making sure that you understand that we've been kind of dealing with this already. Look at that. Y equals mx plus b. My m number is 8/5. My b number is 3/2. Ha ha, right? I know. All right, so what does all that mean? Okay, so now we have our y. The m number is the slope. What exactly is a slope? Now, in plain terms, the slope is just a measure of the steepness of a line, okay? So the steepness of a line, almost like the steepness of a hill. Let's say I have a hill. And the steepness of that hill, how steep it is called a slope. How steep is the hill? That hill looks like it's very steep. But what if I had a hill that was just kind of like this? You see that? Not so steep, but we can still see that it has some steepness to it. Do you see what I mean? And remember, steepness can go up or it can go down. In this case, looking at it this way, I would see the steepness like this. Or if I had a smaller hill, the steepness would be like this. Remember when we were also talking about these? And we were identifying whether this was a function or not. And I said to you, keep in mind that anytime we have a diagonal line, whether it's going up or whether it's going down, we are going to see it again. And that's exactly what we are talking about. This is a function because of the slope of the line. It is a slope of a line going straight diagonally up or straight diagonally down. And that's what we're going to be doing here, is learning how to take the mathematical equation, solving it using the formula to create slope on a graph. All right, so let's continue with our definitions and what we're looking at. Let me go back. So the slope just means the steepness of the line. That's what the m number represents. And then the b of our formula represents the y-intercept. The b number, the y-intercept, basically just means the number that is on the y line. For example, if my b number, my y-intercept number was 5, That means I would have a dot on the number 5 that is on the y-intercept. You follow what I'm saying? So just like we have this picture right here, the slope is the steepness of the line. That's why it's M. And then the dot that's on the y line, like this, is B, the y-intercept. Okay? So that's what we have so far. All right. Here are some examples of slope of line and y-intercept form with actually using numbers. Like this one, we see this as y equals 2x plus 1. Again, we see y equals mx plus b. The slope is the m number, which is this case is 2. That's the m number, is 2. And the y-intercept, which is the b number, in this case is 1. Y equals mx plus b. In this case, y equals 2x plus 1. Same form. You see the formula. You can see the formula in that equation right there. Same thing whether it's like this. Y equals mx plus b. In this case, our slope number, which is the m number, is 3/4. And then the b number, which is the y-intercept, is 2. So with this one, if the y-intercept is 2, and I were to graph that, remember the y-intercept, the b number, right, is where you start your first dot on the y line. So my y-intercept would actually be right here, a 2. See that? So the y-intercept number is what the b stands for. And we'll do the slope when we get there. We'll get there. Another example of y equals mx plus b. In this case, your slope is 1/3, and your y-intercept, the b number, is a positive 2. It does not always have to be positive. That's one thing I noticed when I did these examples. I made them all positive numbers, and that's not always necessarily the case. Okay, necessarily the case. I could have had y equals negative 3/4 x minus 2, but it's still the same formula of y equals mx plus b. Does not matter if the b is a plus or a minus, does not matter if the m number is negative or positive either. So I also could have written this one like y equals 1/3 x minus 2, etc. Or y equals negative 1/3 x minus 2. Does not matter if the numbers are positive or negative. That part only matters when you're graphing. And right now we're not graphing, we're understanding the formula. Okay? Now that we understand the formula, one other part about the formula. Don't worry about down here just yet. We're not there just yet. We'll get there. Is that, remember, we can see it as y equals mx plus b, or it can be mx plus b equals y. The whole point is to have, I'm going to draw my street, looks familiar, the y number on one side of the street and the mx plus b on the other. The y number on one side of the street, the mx plus b on the other. Why is this important? Because it's easier to graph that way if you have y on one side of the street and an mx plus b on the other, whether it's this way or whether it's this way, because it's important. It makes it easier for when we have to do graphing. But the problem is, my friends, is that a lot of times we'll get questions in which the order isn't right. Look at this one. 3y minus 15 equals negative 6x. Huh? Now we can tell that it's not in the right order. We don't see it as y equals mx plus b. Things are not in the right place. So this is the first step. This is the first step in solving these slope-intercept form questions. We have to rearrange what we have to make it look in this order. Y on one side of the street by itself, the mx plus b on the other side. This is where we are. How do we do that? Well, if you were with me when solving equations, this is going to make it a lot easier for you if you were with me when learning how to solve simple two-step equations. All right, so here I go. I got my equation, right? Now, this is how I like to solve it. You might have learned some other way, etc. There's so many different ways you can do this. I'm showing you the way that I like to solve it. I'm going to draw my street. That should sound familiar to you. Like I said, if you've been following me when I've showed how to do two-step equations and how to solve for a variable. I'm going to draw my street. Now, remember, my goal is to get the y number as the only thing on this side of the street. Just like this. The y number as the only thing on one side of the street. So what do I need to get rid of in order for the y number to be the only thing? Don't worry about the 3 with the y. Worry about everything else. And what I mean by that is this. I need to get rid of this minus 15 or negative 15. Call it what you want. So that the y number will be the only thing on that side of the street. I need to get rid of that. How am I going to do that? Exactly how we used to solve equations. What I see, I'm going to do the opposite. If I see a negative 15 or a minus 15, you got it. I'm going to add 15. I'm going to add 15. When I add 15 to the other side, because remember, what I do to one side of the street, I must do to the other, I'm not going to put it down here because they're not matching terms, okay? That negative 6 has an x with it. My 15 doesn't, and so I'm not going to put it directly underneath it. I'm going to put it beside it. There. Because now, watch this. This is what's happened. I can bring down my 3y. Negative 15 plus a positive 15 canceled out. Remember, I did that on purpose, so I get 3y there by itself, right? And I'm going to bring down the rest of what I have. Negative 6x plus 15. Now, do you notice what we just did? Yep, we did y equals mx plus b. You see it. But there's one last step. One last step. When we put it in an slope-intercept form, there we go, y has to be by itself. The m number, fine. The b number, fine. But there cannot be a number with y. So this means I now need to get rid of the 3. My last step is to get rid of the 3. How am I going to get rid of the 3? Well, you know, whenever you see a number right next to a letter, that should sound familiar when we were solving equations, it means multiply. So what are you going to do to get rid of it? That's right, the opposite of what you see. If you see multiply, you are now going to divide. So I'm going to divide out the 3 like this. And here's the thing. You know the rule when we're solving equations. What you do to one side of the street, you have to do to the other. So watch this. This is where it gets a little bit different too. If I'm dividing the y with the 3, I have to divide the x with the 3, and I have to divide the 15 with the 3. So it has to be fair all the way across the board, from one side of the street to the other, right? If I divide the y with the 3, I'm going to divide the x number with the 3. I'm going to divide the b with the 3, okay? So when I do that, 3 goes into 3. You know that's going to cancel out giving you y. Now, let's reduce this fraction. I have a negative 6 over 3. What is that going to reduce to? I hope that you can see that that's going to reduce to a negative 2. Keep your x. Right? Now, 15 over 3, what is that going to reduce to? I hope you can see that's going to reduce to a positive 5. Oh, look at that. Now we're in perfect form. Y equals m. My m number is a negative 2 plus b. My b number is a 5. Now, this is what I can solve. Let's do that again one more time. How do we do that? Here we go. So when you get a test on the questions, questions on a test, there you go. I knew I had said that backwards. When you get questions on the test, most likely it may not give it to you in the correct form for inner slope form. We know that the correct form has to be y equals mx plus b like this, right? But it's going to give it to you all mixed up. So what you're going to do, you're going to solve it and rearrange it just like if you were solving regular two-step equations from back in the day when we first were doing videos, right? You're going to draw your street. Remember, your job is to get this y number by itself. So that means you get rid of everything that's around it. What's around it is this negative 15. Get rid of it so that this number can be the only thing on that side. How am I going to get rid of it? By doing the opposite of what I see. If I see a negative 15 or a minus 15, doesn't matter what you call it, do the opposite, which means you're going to add 15. Okay? Or positive 15, whatever it is that you want to call it. What I do to one side of the street, I'm going to do to the other. I'm going to make this look a little bit neater. Close enough. So I'm not going to put it down here because they're not like terms. I could put it directly down here because they are like terms. A negative 15 and a positive 15 without an x with it. But since that negative 6 has an x, I cannot put the plain 15 next to it. So I'm going to put it beside it like this. Okay? Now that I've done that, I'm going to do the math that I see. I see that I can bring down my 3y. Negative 15 plus 15, that canceled out, which is the job that I wanted to do, to make sure 3y was there by itself. I'm going to bring down my rest, which is negative 6x plus 15. Okay, now the last thing I need to do is get rid of the number that's with the y. Because the negative 6 is all good, the 15 is all good, but I cannot leave y with a number. Y has to be completely by itself. So now get rid of the 3. I know that anytime I see a number right next to a letter, I remember from back in the day when we were doing two-step equations, that means multiply. So to get rid of the 3, I'm going to do the opposite of what I see, which is divide. So I'm going to divide out that 3 here. What I do to one side of the street, I must do to the other. So if I divide 3 there, I'm also going to have to divide 3 with the x number and divide 3 with the b number, which is 15. So now if I do the math, it looks like this. 3 divided by 3, that finally gives me y by itself, which is the job. That's what we wanted to do, right? Now I'm going to reduce this fraction, negative 6 over 3. That reduces to a negative 2. Keep your x. Reduce the next fraction, 15 over 3, positive 15 over positive 3. That, you can see, reduces to a positive 5. Now this is what you are going to be able to graph, to draw that line that's going to go on the graph. Y equals negative 2x plus 5. And isn't that in y equals mx plus b form? Yep. Y equals negative 2x plus 5. See that? So now that it's a y-intercept form, we are going to graph. So let's learn how to do that. I'm first going to take this and I'm going to place it up here. Our answer, y equals negative 2x plus 5. And I'm going to get rid of this so we can make sure we're able to use the graph down here. Here we go. Let's take an extra long, but we get the point. All right, now let me put it down here. Y equals negative 2x plus 5. This is what we can graph. Okay, so now how do we start graphing? When we graph, this is the rule. This is the rule right here. This is what's important. How to start graphing. You're going to first graph your b number, your y-intercept number. Remember, the formula is y equals mx plus b. Your first dot is going to be the b number. Remember, with our answer, our b number is a positive 5, isn't it? Positive 5. That means the b number, remember, is the y-intercept number. The b number, remember, according to our notes, the b number is the y-intercept number. Okay? So that means we're going to take a positive 5 and put it on the y-intercept, which is right here. Remember, the y line goes up and down, right? So that tells me my first dot is right there. Now, I need to place a second dot in order to figure out what direction my line is going to go into. That's where we use the slope number. Our slope is a negative 2, okay? Our slope is a negative 2. In fact, I'm going to pull it out and just, I'm going to pull it out and just put it over here on the side, right here. I'm just going to put it right here, okay? Now, in order to graph this part, we need rise over run. Let me go back to my notes so I can show you what I mean. Now we're down here, this rise over run. Remember, m is the slope number. In our case, our slope is a negative 2. Okay? We need two numbers. We need a rise and we need a run. Now, this is why it's best to have your slope number as a fraction. Now, my answer didn't give me a fraction like this. My answer didn't give me a fraction like this. My answer gave me a negative 2, right? So I'm just going to simply take that negative 2 and make it into a fraction. How would I make that negative 2 into a fraction? You got it. Simply put a 1 underneath it. So what happens is I just created my rise number, which is a negative 2, and my run number, which is a 1. Okay? So let me take that back over to the sheet so I can explain over here. So I pulled out my negative 2. I'm going to first change it into a fraction simply by putting putting a 1 underneath it. If it's not already a fraction, simply make it a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. Because what happens is that you now have your rise and you now have your run. Now, just because it says rise, right, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go up. A rise number can go up or down. This is the method that I like to use. A run number, always run to the right. Now that I know that a rise number, even though it says rise, it can either go up or down depending on the number that you have. My number is a negative 2. My top number is a negative 2. My rise number is a negative 2. But a rise can go up or down. So guess what direction I'm going to go into if I have a negative 2? I hope you said down, because it's negative 2. So that means I'm going to go from my y-intercept, the 5, and I'm going to go down 2 spaces. 1, 2. Once I did the rise, I'm then going to run. And remember, my trick is always run to the right. How much are you going to run? You're just going to run 1 space to the right. So if I run 1 space to the right, my next dot would be right here. And then we're going to pretend we can draw perfectly straight. And my line would go like this. Rise over run. Okay? Now, I could even continue my rise over run from this dot. Remember, rise negative 2, which means go down. Negative 2. 1, 2. Run 1 to the right. Rise negative 2. 1, 2. Run 1 to the right. You see I'm forming this nice straight line right here? Okay? and then I would connect, and this is where my graph would be. And it looks just like this. See that? Starting at the 5, rise at -2, go down 2, 1, 2, run 1 to the right. Rise -2, 1, 2, run to the right. Rise -2, 1, 2, run to the right. 1. See that? Just like that. So again, our answer, y-intercept form, is -2x plus 5, and this is how we graph. Let's try that again. All right, number 2. Again, I need to rearrange. I need to make it look like y equals mx plus b form. And I can tell that it is not in that form, right? Because everything is all rearranged and in different spots. All right, I'm trying to draw my B on here. There we go. So what am I going to do? I'm going to draw my line. I notice that my y number is right here. Get rid of everything that's with the y. Okay, get rid of everything that's on the same street as y. Okay, that means I need to get rid of this -5x. So what am I going to do to get rid of the -5x? That's right, the opposite of what you see. You're going to add 5x. What you do to one side of the street, you must do to the other. Add 5x. Let's rewrite our equation. That cancels out, giving you a positive 6y equals 12 plus 5x. Remember, now you need to get rid of the number that's with the y, the number that's right next to the y, which is the 6. I'm going to divide out the 6. If I divide out the 6 there, I need to divide it here, and I need to divide it here. Okay, what you do to one side of the street, you must do to the other. Now, 6 divided by 6 is 1, so that finally leaves me y by itself. Reduce this fraction, 12 over 6. That's going to reduce to a 2, isn't it? A positive 2. Now the fraction 5 over 6. Can that really reduce? It can't. Don't change it to a decimal. Don't try to change it any other way. Just keep it the way it is. If it can't reduce, keep it the way it is and put your x beside it. Now you have your y equals mx plus b. Except, the m number is actually over here instead of over here where it should be, but you can rewrite it. If I rewrite it, it's simply going to be y equals, what was my mx number? A positive 5, 6. So positive 5, 6, x. What is my b number? A positive 2, plus 2. There we go. And that we can grab. Y equals 5 over 6x plus 2. Now, let me put that up here so I can take it out of the way. Now that we saw how to solve it, I'm going to rewrite it down here so we can take a look at how to graph. Okay. So we had y equals 5 over 6x plus 2. There. Okay, now pause for a second and go back and see how we solved that and got that if you got lost with that one, okay? All right, so here we go. Now for the graphing. Remember, where do we start? We start with the b-intercept. We start with the b number. What's our b number in here? I hope you see it as a positive 2. So that means our first dot is going to be on the positive 2. Now we're going to do our rise over run. I'm going to pull that out over here. I have 5 over 6 is our rise over run. Our rise and our run. Remember, a rise can go up or down depending on the number, and then a run, always run to the right. Okay, so my rise is a positive 5. So do you think I'm going to go up or I'm going to go down? I'm going to go up because it's a positive 5. So I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many am I going to run to the right? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is where my second dot would be, okay? And then all I would do is connect the dots. You only need 2 dots in order to figure out where your line is going to be, okay? If I were to continue this, I would be off the graph because, again, I would go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, and run 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I would still be able to connect. Okay, so there's our second dot, and our line should look like that for when we are graphing. Let's double check. As you can see, there it is, okay? So you can see it started with the 2, and then it goes up 6, or up 5, and over 6. All right, let's take a look at number 3. Okay, Now, we'll say number 3 is trying to be a little bit tricky, but we're not going to let it fool us, right? Why are we not going to let it fool us? Well, take a look at it. Remember what I was saying, that our formula is either going to be y equals mx plus b, or it could even be mx plus b equals y. That's exactly what's happening over here. Look at it. It's already y is on that side of the street, and mx plus b is on this side. Like this. Y is on this side of the street, mx plus b is on that side. So we don't have to move anything around. We just need to get rid of what? We just need to get rid of that 2. Okay? I don't have to move over the negative 3x over to that side, because y is already the only thing that's here. The y number is the only thing that's already there. I just need to get rid of the 2 now, right? So let's do that. So I'm not going to move this over, and I'm not going to move this over. I don't need to do that. Y is already the only thing that's on that side of the street. Okay? Because remember, it can be y equals mx plus b, or it can be mx plus b equals y. And that's exactly what we have. Y is on this side of the street. So the last thing that you do, is to divide out the y, the number that's with the y. So I see a 2, so I'm going to divide out 2 everywhere. That means I'm going to divide 2 here, I'm going to divide 2 here, and I'm going to divide 2 here. So now, if I'm doing that, I have negative 3 over 2x. Is that going to reduce? Can I change that fraction to anything? No. So I'm going to bring it back down exactly how it was. Negative 3 over 2, and put the x right beside it right there. Now this will reduce. Negative 2 divided by 2. Notice that's going to give you a negative 1. And then, of course, 2 divided by 2 is going to give me my y. Now, it looks backwards, I know. So it is okay now. Now it's okay to put the y first. So I'll just rearrange it, putting y on the right side of the left side of the street, my mx number, negative 3 over 2, and my b number, which is negative 1. So all I did was rearrange it now so it looks easier to graph. So that's what I'm going to graph now, right? Okay, I got a feeling I should do that one more time. So let's do it one more time. So with number 3, again, with number 3, I don't have to move this number over or this number over, because if I look at it, y is already the only thing on this side of the street, and my mx plus b is on the other side of the street. Because again, remember, it's either going to be y on this side or y on this side, and this is the exact case that we have for number 3. So do not shuffle anything around, because you're just going to make things a little bit more difficult for yourself, okay? So no need to do all that. So we're not going to do all that. So, but we do need to get rid of the 2 that's with the y. And we know to get rid of the 2, we need to divide it out, just like we did for number 1 and number 2. So I'm going to divide out 2 here, I'm going to divide a 2 here, and then divide a 2 here. Now, negative 3 over 2x is not going to reduce. That fraction is not going to reduce, so I'm going to keep it as negative 3 over 2. I'm just going to put my x beside it. It doesn't matter if it's on top or the bottom or beside it. It's right there, okay? Same thing. Now, negative 2 divided by 2, that is going to reduce. And that's going to reduce to a negative 1, isn't it? Equals, and we know this cancels out, leaving us y. Now, again, to me, it looks a little funky with y being on that side of the street. So I mentally change it to the other way around. I know it's going to be y, my mx number first, which is a negative 3 over 2x, and then my b number, in this case, happens to be a negative 1. So there we go. So that I can graph. So to me, that looks like an easier way for me to see everything in which I can graph. Because now I know I'm going to start with my y-intercept number, which is your b number, starting here, at negative 1, which is down here. Your rise over run is negative 3 over 2. Rise, run. And remember, with your rise or your run, you can go up or down depending what your number is. My rise is a negative 3. So does that tell you you're going to go up or down? I hope you say down because of the word negative, negative 3. So I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to run, always run to the right. How many are you going to run? 2. 1, 2. So this is where my second dot is. And then if I were able to draw straight, we're going to pretend I can draw straight, it would go like this. And my graph is complete that way. As you can see, here. There it is. Also, here's something else I want to make sure that we understand. Now, I know I pointed this out in class. I want to make sure I point it out in video. How to tell if your line is going up or down. Sometimes we struggle if knowing when our line is going up or down. Look at the answer that we got for our first line, right? Notice going from here to here. Is this a positive or a negative line? How to tell? How is that different from this? Is this a positive or negative line? Here's what I mean by that. Is the line going up or is that line going down? This is how you can absolutely for sure 100% know. Start with the arrow that's most towards the left. I have this arrow and I have this arrow. Which one of these arrows is most towards the left? I hope you see it as this one. This one is most towards the left, right? So if I start at the arrow that's most towards the left, and then I travel to get to the next one, what direction did I have to travel to get to the next one? I traveled down, didn't I? So this means that this is a negative line. This is a negative line because I had to travel down, right? Let's look at it in this one. Again, you see your two arrows. Start with the arrow that's most towards the left. If I start with the arrow that's most towards the left, I'm starting here. And then I'm going to travel to get to the next arrow. What direction did I have to travel to get to the next arrow? I had to travel up, so I know that this is a positive line, right? The other one, start with the arrow that's most towards the left. That would be here. What direction did I have to travel? I had to travel down. Therefore, I know that this is a negative line. So it's a nice, quick, easy way to tell if your line is positive or negative, right? Now, here's something else that's very cool. Check this out. How to know if you are graphing correctly. Remember their slope number? Remember that -2 is our slope number, right? -2. If your slope is negative, your line should be negative, which it is. If my slope is negative, my line should be negative. If my slope is positive, positive 5/6, my line should be positive, which it is. If my slope is positive, my line should be positive. If my slope is negative, my line should be negative. There it is. How to easily tell. All right, let's continue with our next one. All right, here we go. I know you're excited. Let's take a look at number 4. Okay. So, number 4, let me draw my street. Oh, look at this. It's already in y equals mx plus b form, isn't it? Because I have my y as the only thing on this side of the street, my mx plus b on this side of the street. Now, the only problem is that I cannot have a negative y. So I am going to have to get rid of that negativeness. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to make an invisible 1 show up. Remember, there's always an invisible 1 in front of letters, right? And so when I do that, I can simply divide out a -1. Remember, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to divide a -1 there and divide a -1 here, because you can't have a negative y. So make a 1 show up and divide out a -1. Because when I do that, it now means that I have -1 divided by -1. Now I have a positive y. And then a -4 divided by a -1 is going to give me a positive 4x. And then 3 divided by a -1, that's going to give me a -3. That I can graph. So that one was pretty easy. I didn't have to rearrange. I didn't have to move one thing to the other side of the street, etc. because it was already in y equals mx plus b form. I just had to get rid of the -1. So I got rid of the -1 by dividing out -1 with everything. Therefore, it changed my equation to y equals 4x minus 3. And that I can graph, right? So you know where to start. You're going to start at your y-intercept, which is the b number. Start at the -3 on the y-intercept. So that's going to be right here. And then you see your slope is 4x. Let me write that over here. My slope is 4. So I'm going to change it into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. So when I do that, remember the top number is your rise, and the rise can go up or it can go down. Your bottom number is your run. Always run to the right. So since my top number is a positive 4, that means I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to run 1. If I run just 1 to the right, my other dot is right here, therefore creating my line that looks like this. Okay, I can even take it from here, run 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, rise 4 and run 1, creating my other dot, which is right here. Make a more straighter line. Look at that. And let me just show you what it looks like on the answer key. There you go. Okay, so I have there, going straight, rise 4, run 1. All right. So now that we have that one, oh, and let's do our slope check. Look for our answer. Remember our slope, we ended up with a +4 for slope. +4 for slope. And isn't our line going up? Why, yes it is. So therefore I know that my slope is on the right track. All right, let's take a look at number 5 and keep it going. You know what we say, practice makes perfect, right? Here we go, guys. Let's do it again. Okay, with number 5. Now, I can see with number 5, I need to rearrange some things, don't I? Yep. I need to get this as the only thing on that side, so therefore I need to get rid of this. How am I going to get rid of that? You got it correct. Subtract 30 from both sides. Now, my subtract 30 on both sides, I'm going to put it like right over here. Subtract 30. And that was a +7x, so I'm just going to make a plus sign show up. So therefore it doesn't look so weird, right? So now I do my math. I see I'm left with a -5y because that canceled out. And then I have a 7x, +7x, and a -30 because I subtracted the 30 from both sides. All right. Now you see the last thing that you're going to do is divide out your -5. Divide out -5 here. That means you're dividing a -5 here, and then divide a -5 here. When I do that, -30 divided by 5, you see that's going to give me a +6, isn't it? I'm going to put that right there. And then a +7/5x, that fraction cannot reduce, right? A +7/5x, you pretty much have a -7/5x. And then equals y. So that's what I have. Let me rearrange it. Put my y first, my mx number next, -7/5, and then my +6, +6. So that's what it looks like that I'm going to graph. So I have -7/5x +6. Let me do that one again, try to get it a little bit neater. Here we go. Let's watch that one again. Okay, so here we go. And bam. All right. So I like to keep the y number where it is. If I find it on this side, I'm going to leave it on that side. If I find it on this side, I'm going to leave it on that side. And I'm going to get rid of whatever's beside it. So I'm going to keep my -5y there. I'm going to move the 30 over to here. Okay? So that means, yep, you're going to do the opposite of what you see. Subtract 30 from both sides. So I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. Now I'm going to put it right here. Subtract 30. You see that? But it looks kind of weird with nothing in between here, doesn't it? I know it does. So put a plus sign there. Why? Because that 7x is a +7x, right? So just make the plus sign show up. So now it looks a little bit better like that. So when you do your math, you can see that cancels out, giving you -5y, your 7x, which was positive, and your -30 or -30 there. So now you can see what you have left to do is divide by -5, divide by -5, divide by -5. So -30 divided by the -5, that's going to give a +6. I'm going to put that right there. This fraction is not going to reduce, and it's represented as -7/5. I know that plus sign is there, but you have also a -5. So you know your fraction is going to be negative. So -7/5x. You can keep the plus sign there if you want to, but now you don't need it because that negative sign is much stronger. Okay? Think of it that way. Then, of course, this is going to reduce to 1, so equals your y. And then what I did was just rearrange it, putting the y on the left side. So I just took my y, put it over here. My mx number, which is -7/5, -7/5. And then my b number, which was a +6. Make that plus sign show up, +6. And that is what I can graph. So if I'm graphing, here we go. You know we start at the y-intercept. So my y-intercept, remember, the b number is a 6. So I'm going to start at 6 right here. And then my rise over run, I'm going to write right here, that's 7/5. Remember, the top number is your rise. And a rise can go up or down, depending on what the number is. Always run to the right. It's just easier. So my rise is a -7. So does that mean I'm going to go up or down? I hope you say down because it's a -7. That's right. Go down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And how much am I going to run to the right? I'm going to run 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There. Creating my line, which looks like this. And there we go. And as you can see, remember, Our slope was negative, so therefore our line should be negative, which it is, as we can see here. Negative slope. All right, let's try it again and take a look at the next one. Practice makes perfect. We got this, guys. Hope some people take some time to look at this over the weekend. I'm so sorry that it took so long to get this one out. Yep, I'm tired too, but that's all good. I'm still going to do what I got to do for you. All right, looking at number 6, I can tell I need to rearrange some things. I'm going to get this negative 8x out of the way. How am I going to do it? By adding 8x to both sides. Adding 8x to both sides. That 24 is a positive 24, so just make the plus sign show up. So now it makes a little bit more sense when you read it. Let's do our math. I'm going to bring down my 8x. I'm going to bring down my 24. I'm going to bring down my 4y. That canceled out, didn't it? Now you see you're going to do what? Divide by the 4. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Now let's reduce the fraction. 8 over 4, you know that's going to reduce to what? That's going to reduce to 2, right? I'm going to put that over here. So I have 2x. And then the 24 over 4 is going to reduce as well. That's going to be what? A positive 6. 24 divided by 4, that's going to be a positive 6. And then the 4 over 4, you know that's going to be 1, which basically equals my y. So I reduce that to make it look like this. 4 will go into 8 2 times, so 2x. 4 goes into 24 6 times, so a positive 6. And then 4 will go into itself 1 time, just giving you the y. So you know me, I like to rearrange it to where my y is on the left side, so it's easier to look at when I graph. So y equals my slope number, that's positive 2x, and my y-intercept, my b number, which is a positive 6. So bam, that's what I'm going to graph. I'm going to take this out of the way so I can take a look at my graph and see everything. And you know you're going to start with your b number, which is the positive 6, right? So you're starting here with the positive 6, and that's going to be a positive 6 on your y-intercept, which is right here. Now your slope is a 2, right? 2. Remember, make it to a fraction. Okay, 2 over run. And therefore you have your rise and you have your run. Your rise is a positive 2, so that means you're going to go up 2. 1, 2. And then you're going to run 1. Run 1 to the right, put you right here. Therefore, causing your line to look like this. As you can see, causing your line to look like this. I know what you're thinking. Hey, Kelly, your line is like over here. Why is this one going down like here? Doesn't matter, because if I did the slope every single time, that's what I would get. And so from here, I went from my 6 and I went up 2. There it is. If I had gone up another, went up 2, went to the to 1 to the right. If I had gone up 2 again, 1, 2, and gone to the right, I would hit the line, go up 2 again, and go on to the right, I would hit the line again, and that's what it's doing here, okay? Go down 2, 1, 2 to the right, go down 2, 1, 2 to the right, and you can see I would have gone in that direction. That's what this is doing down here, okay? So I started at the 6, go up 2 to the right. And then guess what? Go down 2 to the left. Go down 2, go down 2 to the left. I think I said to the right up here, but you get what I'm saying, okay? As long as you have your rise and your run and you're consistent, whether you're going up this way and down this way, you're going to make the slope the way that it should be. Let's practice that in. Don't worry about too much about that part. I should really just take that out, but I'm not. We're going to continue and just continue along the lines of what I'm saying, and you're going to be all good. Trust me on this, okay? So here we go. I can see that my 5y is here. I need to get rid of what? I hope you noticed you need to get rid of this 6x. How are you going to get rid of it? Subtract 6 from both sides. Subtract 6x. Subtract 6x. There. When I rewrite, it's going to look like this. Negative 6x minus 10 equals, canceled out, 5y. You can see from here, let's divide by 5. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. When I rewrite this, negative 6 over 5, that's not going to reduce at all. So I'm going to keep it just like it is. Doesn't matter if it's an improper fraction. Negative 6 over 5x, right? Now, this negative 10 over 5, that is going to reduce. That's going to reduce to a negative 2, isn't it? And then 5 over 5, you know that's going to give you the 1, therefore giving you y, right? So I'm going to rearrange it to where y is first. So y equals my slope number, negative 6 over 5x, and then my y-intercept, my b number, which is a negative 2. So I just rewrote it so that the y is on the left side, and now this I can graph because I can kind of see it easier when I write it in that direction, okay? So you can see you're going to start with your b number, which is the y-intercept. So start at -2, which is right here. Your rise over run is -6 and 5. So that means I'm going to rise -6, right? So let me write it down here so we can make sure what we're doing. -6 over 5. This is your rise. This is your run. Remember, a rise can go up or down. Always run to the right 5. Trust me on that, okay? And so if I got to rise -6, you know that truly means you're going to go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then run to the right 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There it is, creating your line like this. And there's your slope of a line, just like that. And as you can see, just like we have from here. Okay, starting at -2, run -6, excuse me, rise -6, run 5. Okay, let's take a look at the next one and see what we can do with this one. Practice makes perfect. Let's keep it up, my friends. Keep it up. I'm going to keep it up if you keep it up. Here we go. We can get it done together. Okay, so for this one, oh, thank goodness. Look at this one. You already have y equals mx plus b. Okay, you just need to get rid of that 7, don't you? That's right. So the only thing we have to do with this one is divide 7. Dividing 7 everywhere. Because that's going to leave us with y. 2 over 7 is not going to reduce, so I'm going to keep it. 2 over 7x. -14 divided by 7 is going to give me a -2. Now that's what I can graph. This is what I can graph right here. You see you're going to start on the y-intercept. Your b is -2. So we'll start here at -2. And your rise over run is 2 and 7. So you're going to rise 2, 1, 2, run 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There's your slope. Not much of a slope, but there it is. It's a small slope, but it's there, just like that. As you can see, bam, just like that. And again, notice our slope is positive. This line is also positive. It's slightly positive, but it's there. You can tell it's going up. Start from the left, move your way up. Let's try the last one on this page. Here we are. Now this one, yep, I got to move this out of the way so I can get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Subtract 6. When I do that, that leaves me with 6y. That cancels out. X minus 6. Now what? Now you see you're going to divide out the 6 here, divide 6 here, and divide 6 here. So watch this, watch this. So you know that that's going to leave you with y, right? Equals. Now, that looks kind of weird. Doesn't look like this 6 doesn't have a number on top. Make that invisible 1 show up. So now you see there's 1 6 over x, don't you? That's right. It's not just a 6. That 6 was the denominator. Okay? So if you had put, oh, that's going to be 6x, you were wrong, my friend. It should be 1 over 6. 1 over 6, okay? So I'm going to put that as 1 over 6x. Now, -6 divided by a +6, you can see that's going to give us a -1. So now I have y equals mx plus b form. That I can graph. Let me just put that up here so I can see it easier. Y equals 1 over 6x minus 1. That's what I'm going to graph for number 9. Okay. So you see where we're going to start. You start at your y-intercept, your b number, which is -1. That's right here. Your rise over run is a 1 and a 6. So rise 1, boom. Run 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There you go. And so this is what my line would look like. Very, very small slope right there. Very small slope. But it would look something like that if I knew how to draw straight. It would look like that. And as you can see, very small slope. Going just like that. But that's where we are. Okay. So now you know what we're going to do? That's right. We're going to do another page of practice. Here we go. Starting with the first one. Practice makes perfect. Let's get it going, guys. You got this. Taking a look at number 1. All right. We're going to draw our street. Oh, look. Y is the only thing that's here. Here's your mx plus b. But you know you got to get rid of that -4. How are we going to get rid of that -4? That's right. Divide by -4 everywhere. Okay, when I divide by -4, I can see I finally have y equals 3 over -4. That's going to give you -3/4 x. And then 8 over -4, you can see that's going to reduce to a -2. So that's what we're going to graph, is this right here. Again, you start with your y-intercept, which is the b number, okay? So I hope you're not forgetting when I'm doing this, y equals mx plus b. Please remember, m is the slope number, right? -3/4. And then the b is the y-intercept number, which is a -2. So that means that's where I'm going to start. Always put your first dot on the y-intercept number, which is also represented by b. And so that means on the y line, I'm going to put my first dot on the -2. And now for my slope, remember the slope is -3 over 4, right? That's your rise. This is your run. A rise can go up or down. Run to the right. So rise can go up or down. I see my numbers are -3, so guess direction I'm going to go into. That's right, down. Even though it says rise. Don't get that confused. Trust me, it's a lot easier this way, okay? So now I'm going to rise -3, which means I'm going to go down. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to run 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Therefore, my line is going to look like this. And I know I'm on the right track because I had a negative slope number, right? A negative slope number. And isn't my line going down? Yes, it is. As you can see, for number 1, there it is, a negative slope. How to tell if your slope is negative? Start with the arrow that's most towards the left. This is the arrow that's most towards the left. Make your way to the other arrow. What direction did you go into? Up or down? I went down. So therefore, this is a negative slope. And that's exactly what we came up with when we graphed it ourselves right here. Let's do number 2. I know, starting to be fun, right? I agree. Here we go. Now, I can see my y is over here. I need to get rid of this -4x. How? You got it. Add 4x to both sides. Add 4x to both sides is a positive 4x, okay? You can put a positive sign here if that makes it look easier for you, whichever. But you don't need it, okay? Because when I rewrite it, it's just going to look like 4x minus 20 equals, cancel out, 5y. You know your next job is to get y by itself, divide by 5, divide by 5, divide by 5. Now, 4 over 5x is not going to reduce at all, is it? So I'm just going to rewrite it. I'm just going to put it over here. So I have 4 over 5x. I'm just going to leave it as it is. It's not going to reduce. -20 over 5 will reduce. What is that going to reduce to? A -4 equals, and we know that that is going to be y. If I rewrite it in which y is on the left side, it would just be y equals my slope number, 4 over 5x, and my y-intercept number, my b, which is a -4. That's what I'm graphing. All right, let me get all this mess out of the way so we can see our graph clearer. And now I know that this is how we are graphing it. All right, you know you're going to start with your -4 because that is your y-intercept number, -4. So I'm going to start here. I can see my rise over run is a 4 over 5. Bring it over here, 4 over 5. This is your rise. This is your run. Remember, a rise can go up or down. Always run to the right. Okay? So I'm going to see a positive 4. So that means I'm going to rise 4, go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to run 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Therefore, creating my line like this. Now, this is a positive line, isn't it? And I know in my answer, my slope was positive, and I have a positive line, so I'm pretty sure I'm on the right track. And I can check with my answer, and look at that. I am on the right track. Positive slope, positive line. Let's do number 3. All right, number 3, here we go. Okay, I can see I have my y's right here. I'm going to get rid of the get rid of the 2x first by subtracting 2x from both sides. Subtracting 2x from both sides. When I do that, that leaves me with -3y equals -6. -6 minus 2x. Okay, you know your next step is to divide by -3. Both sides, -3. Now, -3 will go into -3 one time, therefore leaving you y. I'm going to put that over there. And then reduce this fraction, -3 over a -6 over -3. Oh, you do see this fraction is going to reduce to a +2. Did you see that? That's a +2. And then a -2x over a -3. That's going to be a +2 over 3x. I don't know what happened there, right? Just looking at your integer rules, look at this. A negative divided by a negative is positive. That fraction can't reduce. So I'm going to keep it as 2/3, but it changed to a +2/3 because of the negative divided by negative rule. And this one, -6 over -3, negative divided by a negative is positive, but that one can reduce to a 2, so +2. Just wanted to make sure we realize that, right? So if I rewrite it, I'm going to rewrite it like this. I'm going to keep my y here, but I'm going to put my positive mx number first, so +2/3 x, and then my positive b number, +2. That way I can look at it like that and it'd be easier for me to graph, okay? So now I'm going to go over here and graph. You know where we're going to start, the y-intercept number, which is a +2, and then our slope is 2 over 3. It's a +2, so go up 2, 1, 2, and go over 3. 1, 2, 3. Our line should look like that. And I can tell that my line is positive. It's a positive line, which is good because my slope is positive. Let's take a look, verify, and here we are. Positive slope, positive line. You know what? Yes, we're going to do it again. Let's keep it going. All right, here we go. I'm going to move what? The +6x. Move the +6x by subtracting 6x from both sides. Subtract 6x from both sides. That's a +12, so just make a plus sign show up so your sentence reads nice and easy. And then that tells me I have -6x plus 12, that +12, equals 2y. You see now you're going to divide out 2 here, here, and here. So -6 divided by 2, I hope you see that as a -3, which I'm going to put right here. So that's -3, don't forget your x. 12 divided by 2, that's a +6. So I'm going to put my +6 equals 2 divided by 2 is 1, so you know you have your y. All right, I'm going to rewrite it to where y is on the left side. My mx number first, and then my b number, which is 6. That I can graph. So I'm going to go to my graph. You know you're going to start with the y-intercept, which is 6. Start at my +6. And my slope, see that slope of a -3? Let me bring it down here. I'm going to put a 1 there. So I have my rise, and I have my run. Remember, rise can go up or down, run to the right. So how do I know if I'm going to go up or down? Take a look at my number. I have a -3. So what does that tell you? That tells you you're going down because it's a negative number. So go down 3, even though it says rise. Go down 3. 1, 2, 3. And then how many am I going to run? Just 1. So that puts me right here. Just going over 1 time. And then I can see my line looks something like this. Notice my line is a negative because that's a negative line going down, right? Which is cool because I do have a negative slope. So I know I'm on the right track with the graphing. Let's go ahead and take a look. Yep, look at that. There it is. Okay. Let's take a look at number 5. I know, it's a lot of work, guys, but we got it. All right, number 5. Well, this looks interesting, doesn't it? That's okay. I'm going to draw my street. Now, there's a lot of missing numbers here, right? So I don't see any numbers with the x. I don't see any numbers with the y. I'm going to make an invisible 1 show up. I'm going to make an invisible 1 show up, okay? Now I can see it. I can tell, though, that I do not have to move anything over. Y is already the only thing on this side. So y, mx plus b is on the other side. What I do have to do is get rid of that -1. And remember how we do that? We're going to divide out. Not like that. We're going to divide out, -1. Divide out, -1. Divide out, -1. When I do that, 1 divided by -1, that gives me -1. X, right? And then a -5 divided by -1 Do you realize that changed to a positive 5? Negative divided by negative. And then negative 1 divided by 1, positive y. If I rewrite it with the y on the left side, it would be y equals my mx number, negative 1, and then my y-intercept plus 5. So that's where I'm at. Rewriting it looks like that, right? Now we're going to graph. We see that we're graphing and starting at a positive 5 for the y-intercept. So my positive 5 right here. And then my slope. See, my slope is a negative 1. Not a fraction? Fine. Put a 1 underneath. You know how we do. This is your rise number. This is your run number. Remember, rise can go up or down depending on what the number is. I have a negative 1. So that tells us, are we going up or down? I hope you know that means we're going down because this is a negative 1. So go down 1. And then run 1. If I run just 1, that puts me right here, my second dot. And then I can graph. So it would look like that. And then I can tell that this slope is negative, which is great because in my answer, I had a negative slope, right? There it is. And we can verify, ta-da, negative slope, negative graph. All right, let's go for number 6. Almost there, almost there. Number 6, here we go. Now, my y is here. I'm going to get rid of this 24. I'm going to get rid of that 24 by adding 24 to both sides. Adding 24 to both sides. So now I have negative 8y, that canceled out, negative 7x plus 24. Now you know you're going to divide out the negative 8. That means divide out negative 8 here, and divide out a negative 8 right here. When I do that, negative 8 divided by 8, that's going to give me y. I'm going to put it over here. Negative 7 divided by a negative 8, that's not going to reduce anywhere. So I'm just going to keep it. But notice it changed to positive, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So that's positive 7 over 8x. And then 24 divided by negative 8, that's going to give me a negative 3. Now that I can graph. Already in slope-intercept form, so let me get this out of the way so we can graph. I'm going to start at the y-intercept, my b number, and my b number I can see is a negative 3. So I'm going to start down here, negative 3, and my slope is 7 over 8. My rise and my run. All right, that's a positive 7, so I'm going to rise 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and run 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Making my line like this. That's a positive line, which is good because I have a positive slope. As we can see right here. Positive line, positive slope. 3 more left to go. We got this. All right, taking a look at number 7. Next practice. Here we go. I see my y number. I'm going to get rid of that. Move that over. I'm going to move that over by adding 7 to both sides. Adding 7 to both sides. That's a positive 6x. I know that 7 looks weird hanging out there, right? So make that 6x, make that positive 6x show up. So now it doesn't look so weird. Because when we rewrite, we're going to write 7 plus, that's positive 7, which we did, positive 7 to both sides, with the positive 6x equals negative 7y. That canceled out. You see now we're going to divide by negative 7. Divide by negative 7, divide by negative 7. Okay, I have negative 7 divided by 7 divided by negative 7. And put that over here. That's negative 1. And then 6 divided by negative 7. That can't reduce. And the answer is going to be negative. So negative 6 over 7, that was your x number. And then negative 7 divided by negative 7, that's going to give us our y. Now, let me rewrite it. So the y is on the left side, so that's y equals my slope number, negative 6 over 7, and then my y-intercept, which is a negative 1. So that's what I'm going to graph right there. So we start at the y-intercept number, which is a negative 1. Negative 1. I can see my rise over run. It's negative 6 over 7. Rise over run. Remember, with the rise over run, the rise you can go up or down depending on the number. It's a negative 6, so I'm going to go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to run 7. Always run to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There's my line. There we go. That's a negative slope, which is good because remember, my answer, I had a negative slope. And we can verify going down here. There it is, negative slope, negative graph. 2 more. All right, here we go. Number 8. Here we go. I see my y number. Get rid of the 12. Subtract 12 from both sides. Subtract 12 from both sides. So I have negative 6y, canceled out. Negative 5x minus 12. You know what to do now. Divide out the negative 6. Divide out the negative 6. Divide out the negative 6. When I do that, that leaves me y. Negative 5 over negative 6. That's not going to reduce, but it does change it to positive. And then negative 12 over negative 6. That does reduce. That's going to be a 2, and it's going to be a positive 2. Because a negative divided by negative is a positive. So this is what I'm graphing. Let me put that up here. Y equals 5 over 6x plus 2. All right, get that out of the way of my graph. Here we go. And now I can see I'm starting at my y-intercept, which is a positive 2. So I'm going to start right here. And then my slope is 5 over 6. Rise 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Run 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Putting right here. I can tell that my slope is positive, which is good because I ended up with a positive answer. Let's verify. There we go. Positive slope, positive graph. 5 and 6. And 5 and 6. Last one, number 9. Let's see what we can do with number 9. Oh, look, number 9. It's a little bit easier. Why is it a little bit easier? Because it's already in y equals mx plus b form. We just got to get rid of that 9, right? How are we going to get rid of that 9? By dividing it out. Divide by 9. Here, here, and here. That's going to leave us with y. I'm going to put over here. Negative 8 over 9 is not going to reduce. So I'm going to bring it. Negative 8 over 9x. 9 over 9. Ooh, see, that's going to give you a positive 1. So change that to a positive 1 when I reduce. That I can graph. You can see your y-intercept number is a 1. So we're going to start at the positive 1. And then our slope is negative 8 over 9. Negative 8 over 9. And remember, that's the rise. This is the run. And a rise can go up or down, depending on the number. It's a negative 8. So yes, we're going to go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then run 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 9. There it is, creating our graph. That's a negative slope, which is good because we ended up with a negative slope in our math. Okay, so verify. There it is, negative slope, negative graph. Boom. Whew. Okay, my friends. So that was 2 pages of that. And remember, in the Google Classroom, guess what? You have even more pages of practice and the answer key to go along with. You know that this is what I'm going to bring back on Monday, so I hope everyone's had a chance to take a look at this over the weekend. Again, I apologize for such a long video and taking so long to get it out there, but do yourself a favor and practice up. All right, you know how to reach me if you need me, and I'll see you next week.